Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilot, Matt O'Leary. We will have Green Bean joining us shortly. He's running a little bit late. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. There was no victory Monday yesterday, but the Jets still got some breaks on the bye week, which is good. And I'm ready to get hurt again by Patriots week. I'm right back up on the horse.
Dude, if you guys are just dropping in, make sure you hit that like button for us. Helps out the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to get entered into our t-shirt giveaway, all you got to do is retweet the stream. And if you're listening after the fact, all you got to do is leave a comment down below. Get entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. Matt mentioned we didn't get a victory Monday, but it feels a little bit like a victory Monday. We watched the Buffalo Bills fall in spectacular fashion to the Minnesota Vikings Sunday night, and it was just bonkers. Like pure bonkers. That's the only way I could describe it. It was absolutely nuts to how you have two plays from the half-yard line or the 1 yard line if you're the Minnesota Vikings, and you don't run the ball with friggin' Cook at least once, blows my mind. Then they turn the ball over, half-yard line. And I'm like, oh, well, this game's over. They better be careful. They might get a safety there. Actually, I wonder if a safety is the right play. And then I'm doing the math. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because they're kicking back. They got to get a field goal after that. I was like, that's stupid. And then muff snap. Have you ever seen a game quite like that? Hold on, I got Green Bean coming in now. Let's throw him into here as well. Green Bean, you ready to come on? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. There we go. Okay, boom. Green Bean's on my other side now. Green Bean, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
What a jerk.
Yeah. You want to know what happened? Turns out I only have one key to the lock for my studio. I switched cars with my an hour ago and walked here in the rain, and I realized I can't get in. So I had to wait till she got back. I'm an idiot. So here we are.
I love it. That's all right.
Thank you.
We love you all the same. We were just talking about how it's not really a victory Monday, but it kind of feels a little bit like a victory Monday. The Minnesota Vikings beat the division leading Buffalo Bills. Now the Dolphins have a half game lead on the Jets right now. We head into next week with the Patriots on the dock, and the Jets got to take care of business. Now we sit atop the AFC East. But what did you think? Did you watch the Minnesota Buffalo game, Green Bean?
I watched a lot of it. Yeah, I did.
What'd you think of it?
Oh, okay. You want to know? Did you
Yes.
I thought, what's funny? I was actually recording the podcast and about half, maybe third quarter, I literally said in the podcast, and it looks like Minnesota is a bunch of frauds and they're not going to help us out this week. And then it was like a little while later, I had to go back and delete it because I'm like, ooh. I thought it was epic. I love the way that they lost. It just harkened back to what Josh Allen used to be his first couple of years, which was mistake prone. Like he's all the talent in the world, super strong arm, great legs, but he would make that boneheaded play at the wrong moment. And 2 weeks in a row, he's done just that. I'm really hopeful that maybe this is back. You know what I mean? I'd love a little old Josh Allen business back. So it was nice to see him fumble on the goal line like that. That was, I couldn't have planned it any better. It was delicious.
Dude, crazy. And then, dude, how mad I was furious watching the I think it was it was before overtime. It's just before they got in overtime. And they didn't review a pass to the sideline to Gabe Davis, and it was clearly not a catch. And I was like, how do you not even take a second look at that? That just from plain view, it was like, that's really close. You might want to take a peek. No, wait till they snap the ball, blow the whistle.
I agree, man. And so Minnesota couldn't do it because they had no timeouts, but the NFL should have did it within 2 minutes, right?
Well, it was inside 2. Yeah.
Exactly.
Correct. Because it wasn't a catch.
Yeah, no, not at all. Absolutely wild. Crazy game. Very glad. It was cool to watch. Dude, the Justin Jefferson catch. He had a few catches that were crazy, but the one
Unreal.
that was it 4th and 18 or something crazy, or maybe it was an 18-yard catch on a 4th and 10 or whatever it was. Monster grab. That matchup with Jefferson and Reed and Sauce is going to be so fun to watch. Matt, what do you think about the wide receiver core of the Vikings?
Yeah, they are unbelievable. If Stephon Diggs wasn't already in everyone's mind the number one receiver in Here I go. I'm thinking about the trade. Justin Jefferson. If Justin Jefferson isn't the number one receiver in everyone's mind, then I don't know what sport you're watching. I know Tyreek Hill is great, but that catch from Jefferson, man, was just unbelievable. And that Vikings wide receiver matchup versus the Jets corner duo, it's going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be similar to when the Jets did go against the Vikings, and it was a battle. It was a back and forth. He made a big play, but then the Jets clamped him down a little bit. So I think it'll be a little give and take, but I with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating how good they are. And that trade between Diggs or between Buffalo and Minnesota, it could have been like they could have not done the trade, and then Buffalo could have got Justin Jefferson. It'd be just as good. Like both, I don't know if a team necessarily lost that trade. I mean, I guess Minnesota probably made out better because you have the cheaper contract in Jefferson. But man, it's going to be a world of hurt trying to contain that dude. Everaldo drops in, says Jets win, they're in first. Jets lose, they're in last. Yeah, it's a really depressing and scary thing considering the last time we played the Patriots coming off a bye last year, we got thumped. So like, hopefully we. Kind of turn that around. Would love to see that. Let's see.
I think. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say, no. Just on that note, I think the case, just like you said, I think when you add to the fact that Diggs is a multi-million-dollar receiver and Jefferson is on a rookie contract, I think you can comfortably say, and they got another 2 picks too. Or three pick. I think you can safely say that the Vikings won the trade, but I don't think Buffalo's complaining.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think it worked out well for both sides. I don't think anyone would have expected a young wide receiver to come on quite as fast as Jefferson has come on, and the Bills needed a premier talent immediately. So getting Diggs the way they did is pretty smart. Dax Milne's mom comes and said, would you rather the coin flip prediction is correct and the Jets lose to the Pats and the Bears, but make the AFC Championship game, or beat the Pats this week but lose in the wild card? Look, I'll be honest. I want to beat the Pats. Coin flip be damned. I want the damn Pats in the worst way. There's not one team in the NFL I want to beat more than the New England Patriots. Green Bean, your thoughts? Coin flip predictions or Patriots?
I'm with you, bro. I mean, like, look, it's nice to think, like, what was it, 1-5 AFC Championship game. The number one, I'm tired of getting in the day. We get there, I want to win it for once, man. 5 AFC Championship games, screw that. But I think beating the Pats has a lot of value, man. A lot of value. Now, if it means beating the Pats and we lose out or something crazy like that, then a different story, of course. But no, I want to beat the Pats. That's all I'm thinking about. Not only do I want to beat the Pats, I would really love for this squad to actually make them cry a little bit. Like, make them please say, please stop, uncle. That's what I want.
Matt, what about you? You taking the coin flip prediction and making it to the AFC Championship game with a loss to the Pats, or you want this victory?
I want to stomp Bill Belichick in his dumb little hood. I want this win, baby. Give me the win.
I love it. Love it. Can't live and die by the coin. If we lose, then I'm buying in on the coin. But I want the Patriots win. Thomas Cahill says, tease, not just the Pats, it's the curse. Slay the dragons. Tease. I don't know what tease means, but yes. I would like to slay the dragon that is the Patriots. I want to be done with them. I'm sick of talking about this. I want to beat them. Alex says, I'm over the coin flip. Give me the Pats. Alex feels the same way we do.
Smart.
Love seeing it. Smart man. Hennessy says, they're building a soccer stadium in Queens. Soccer, seriously. Woody dropped the ball, man. Well, maybe we can throw in some money towards that stadium, because a soccer field is about the same size as a football field, right? Could that work out?
Wait, what happened?
I don't know.
They're building a soccer. Are they really, Matt?
Yeah, right next to today. NYC right next to Citi Field.
Wow, come on.
That's brutal.
It is brutal, dude. That's pretty. I'm telling you, man. The Jets love their deal they have in New Jersey. They love it. You know what I mean? I know the whole thing with New York. I mean, I get it. I would love to have even though I'm technically Jersey, you know what I mean? I really am. But like to have our own stadium, no matter where the hell it was. If it was in the middle of Albany, I'd be like, you know what? It's ours. I love it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't think that. I mean, they're Florham Park. I mean, the taxes. You know, just the whole thing in New Jersey. I think they love it.
Yeah, I think splitting the stadium with another team definitely helps the bottom line, I would think. What do you guys think about the whole push to go like natural grass or not with the silt turf or whatever it is? It's been getting pushed. Matt, have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I with you because I just feel like so many of these teams, they continue to play on the turf, and I think teams don't want to have to do the maintenance on a grass field in today's world. There's got to be a better of turf in 2022 than whatever they're currently using. So they got to do something about it, but I would be they switch back to grass.
Matt, or sorry, Green Bean, what do you think about the turf conversation? Have you heard anything about this, and where do you sort of stand on it?
A little bit. I will say I was actually asked to contribute on a Twitter thread that I'm sorry if you're on here, I completely spaced on you. I didn't do shit. So, but I really do agree with it. Like, I think just like Matt said, I'm 100% in agree with Matt. I think they should go back to grass. And I think the silica cube balls things that they tried, clearly it's not working. I mean, yes, it's better than the plates we had in Giant Stadium and all that. But Denver figured out how to have a well-maintained grass stadium in a northern state. Denver figured it out. They're like the creme de la creme of fields. And I think we should just mimic that, man. Like the template is created. Just mimic it, and I think that all fields should be grass. The fact that we're still talking about this, I mean, we moved away from the AstroTurf, which was essentially like that green felt, you know, that kind of
like plastic.
Yeah, it was just laid on top of literally concrete. Like Al Toon was really big. He was a kid and helped change, you know, the rules away from AstroTurf. And I can say that I think this is better for sure. But I think grass, just get grass, man. What are we doing here? I'm still talking about this. It's been 40 years. Yeah,
I mean, if for no other reason the Jets should get grass because of the competitive disadvantage we're currently at with the amount of injuries we have. Now, I'm at a little bit of a loss as far as like injuries we've sustained this year because our four biggest ones, I guess if you want to include Becton, none of which happened on, you know, MetLife's turf. I don't know. I feel like that there's enough science behind it, and it's like, okay, guys are clearly getting injured. If the NFL is about safety, which we know they're not really about safety. I mean, if they were really about safety, they wouldn't be having teams play Sunday and then Thursday. There's just no way that would be a thing. This is all about money. They don't want to spend the revenue to try and maintain a field. You're making what? $16 billion a year or something crazy, or maybe it might even be more than that, whatever the number is. Some insane amount of money. I think we can figure out how to get natural grass so that we keep our guys healthy. It's sort of a weird, like, it saves money on the maintenance side of things, but then it also saves money on like the contract side of things. If guys get hurt, not that you want to see guys getting hurt, but now owners are like, oh, well, you're not staying healthy. Maybe we can't pay you as much. It's, I was like, it all trickles down. All the way down. So you want to see guys have extended careers. You want to see this whole thing. I would like to see grass. Stud City makes a good point. Breece Hall got hurt on grass. That is true.
On Denver. Denver. As a matter of fact, I almost said that. Like, of course, it's not, devoid of injuries, but I don't think it wasn't the grass that did it. It wasn't the no give of the, the hard, whatever, what I mean? All the stuff that the imitation fields provide as far as, injuries and all that. The grass is just grass. You can still get hurt on it, but it wasn't the field that was the culprit.
Matthew drops in, says, fellas, a pleasure as always, Jets fans. Enough of let's hope we get the wild card. There's no reason why we can't grab this division. We must divorce ourselves from the past, must aim for the division. Yeah, we got a poll going in the live chat right now. Most likely Jets outcome, or most likely outcome for the Jets. We have 277 votes right now. 17% are saying 1 seed, 23% are saying division champs, 56% say wild card, 4% say miss the playoffs. That 4%, I'm assuming, are not Jet fans or just part of the same old Jets fan crew. I'm looking for the 1 seed. I want the division. I want the division first and foremost. I think if you beat the Patriots this week, it goes a long way to getting you to that division title. If you lose this, I still think you're squarely in position to get a wild card. But if you lose this game coming up, I don't want to say you can kiss the division goodbye, but it feels like you can kiss the division goodbye with a sweep of the Patriots. Let's see.
It's tough because, look, we still have 8 games left, right? So we could lose this game and win out. You know what I mean? And still take the division. We could win this game and we could lose this game and the Bills and Pats and Dolphins lose a few. We could win 4 more and get the division, of course. But there's huge divisional implications, man. And not for nothing, just like the last one, it's bigger, like for the message too, not only to the team themselves, but to the league and to the division. Like, no, we beat Miami, we beat Buffalo, and we overcame the big monkey on our back, the damn Patriots, all in one season. We're here. You know what I mean? We're here and it's real. I think it sends a big message too. It's important.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Matt, what are your thoughts on the wild card versus division title, that sort of thing?
I definitely think it feels like the AFC is much so up for grabs, and I think it's a rare opportunity to pounce on that. That's absolutely could be the goal. At the same time, I don't think it makes you less of a fan if you said, realistically, I think the Bills snap back and the Jets end up a wild card. Like, if you want to go with a more approach, I get it, but there's no reason that the AFC East is it's not like some crazy outlandish take. It's right there. If you win this week, you're in first, and then you control your own destiny. So I get where he's coming from.
Right there with you. Brian comes in. Brian says, Victory Tuesday. Oh, it's our bye. LOL. Sup, guys? What's up, Brian? Nice to have you in here. Our good old buddy Mutt Files drops in, says, so who's ready to watch the Jets win the AFC East, need to beat the Patriots to change the narrative of this team, still believe we go 12-5 since January. Division champs, boys. Let's go. Look, we should pull up, I don't have the schedule, but I do have the, let's see. I think I have the little screen share here. Bam! Oh, see, now I'm going to switch you guys. I'll switch you guys for right now because the names were backwards. Bam! Didn't think to change this one.
We're bugging out about it in there.
It's like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Green bean's not green bean. Green bean's Matt. Matt's not green bean. Green bean's Matt.
Right.
Yeah, look, this is how the playoffs stack up right now. And the Jets are currently in the 5 seed. Looking at the final few games that the Jets have, you're talking the Patriots, the Bears, the Vikings, the Jaguars, the Lions, Seahawks, Bills. What am I missing? Missing someone in there. Dolphins. When I'm looking at that, I'm looking at obviously the 3 home games. You got the Lions, the Bears, and the Jaguars. Those are the 3 you kind of have to get. And then you look at how critical the Bills game or the Patriots game and the Dolphins games are going to be. I'm almost like okay with the Bills game right now because I don't think Josh Allen is right. I think something's going on with that arm. I think it's more serious than I mean, everyone's been talking about it being serious, I guess, but he played last week. Like I don't see him.
Played well too, except for the bonehead mistakes.
He did, but it's like he something felt off, and I don't know if it's just like a funk about the team or if it's a funk about Allen. But it felt like the last few weeks, even going back to Green Bay, that Allen he doesn't seem as sharp. Now, obviously, Green Bay was before the Huff hit and the injury at the end of the Jet game. But I think there's an outside shot of him still needing Tommy John surgery, and I think he's going to play through this season, and he may not play all of next year if he does need that, because that's like a 12 to 18-month recovery time. That is a brutal recovery. But overall, I think there's a lot of opportunities for the Jets to get a lot of wins here. And I think when you look at the tail end of the schedule, it's changed so drastically from where we were at the beginning part of the season, because the beginning part of the season we were talking about how now I got to switch you guys back in. See? That's what happens.
Oh,
That's
no.
when I'm screwing around. Whoop. That's not right. Green Beans guess 2. Mac and me 1.
I'm happy.
There we go.
Hey.
I'm happy wherever I land. Just want you to know that.
Green Bean was late and I had to switch the names. I was like, this looks good. This will be fine. I think the tail end of the schedule looks harder now than it did preseason. And like the beginning part of the schedule was almost easier because we faced so many backup quarterbacks. The teams like Green Bay and Denver are not the caliber that we thought they were going to be. And now you look at maybe teams like the Bears, like, Justin Fields all of a sudden kicking into gear. He's running around like crazy back there. Now, I still think the Jets should win that game, but it does seem like it's a little bit harder on the tail end of the schedule. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on the schedule overall, and where do you kind of see us maybe shaking out, like record-wise?
Here's I honestly think that we match up well with every single team on the back end of the schedule. I do believe that we're for real. I believe we're a consistent quarterback away from being quite the bunch of stompers through the NFL, quite frankly. I think our defensive line is serious. And we all know, you pressure the quarterback, you win. Like, that's the way it goes. Our cornerbacks are among, if not the best trio in the NFL. Linebackers hit like a brick shithouse. And our offense is loaded, man. Like, we are loaded with weapons. Even when you look at the Vikings, with all respect, man, I mean, obviously they're low, but dude, the Bills don't have Sauce and Reed and Michael Carter. Like, Sauce can match up. I'm very interested to see how these matchups go for the second half of the season. But I honestly believe it's realistic to think 5-3 on the back end. And if it's 4-4 and we end up 10 wins, I'm happy with that too. Don't get me wrong. But I think 5-3 is realistic. Don't tell anybody I said this, but I think we can fucking win more. I think we can win 6 or 7 of these. That's what I'm saying.
14-3 until proven otherwise.
Oh, that's right, man. Why not? What I'm saying. And it all starts with the Pats, of course. And it's a big monkey, dude. Zach Wilson, it's like he just kind of came on the Jets and absorbed the last 20 years of pain. He's looked like complete dog shit when playing the Patriots. There's a ghost, like, it's spooky. Just like Sam Darnold, he's thrown a total, is it 9 picks against the Patriots? 8?
7.
Something like that?
It was what, 4 the first game, 3 this game. I think he had 1 in like the quarter and a half of play that he had when he got hurt.
So think about that. In 3 games, he's got fucking 8 picks. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like half his picks. Half his interceptions.
He got 4 interceptions this year. 4 interceptions or 5 interceptions, 4 touchdowns. Something like that. 4 or 5. And 3 of them are in 1 game, and they're the Pats. So that's the thing. Like, we have to shake off this Bill Belichick thing. Zach's just got it. If he can just play calm, and instead of running backwards, if every time Zach ran backwards, if he just runs forwards and get 4 yards, 5 yards, we win. Like, that's what it is. And I think that if we go in there like, looking for blood, I think that we can absolutely beat this team. And if we do, the NFL better watch out. Like, because this is the one. This is the one for our message. Not that we can't still be good after it if we lose, but this is the one. We overcome this, and we're going to be bloodying some noses out there. And I think 5 wins is not unrealistic.
Chimera says, $2 super chat. Thank you, dude. And then he drops in with another super chat with an actual message. Says, hey, give me your opinions. For the Jets to win the division, Zach Wilson will have to take an extra step, half a step forward. It seems like we're winning with his bar being don't turn the ball over. Yes, he's definitely being asked to minimize potential risks and fallouts, 100%. But if we want to be taken seriously in this league, if you want to be competitive with teams like the Chiefs, Even though your defense is stout, I think you really have to be able to throw the ball and be able to score points when you have to. We really haven't been down by a lot where we have needed to do it. But I would like to see Zach win us a game, with the flashy stats. Like I want to see the 300-yard game, the 3-touchdown game, and him be the reason we won. Not, on the back of the defense and the running game and like all this, everything else. It's just, I know that's how we should be winning, but I think for us to get into the playoffs, we can do what we are continually. For us to get into the playoffs, I think we can continue to do what we've been doing and be fine and get in. For us to make noise, Zach is going to have to take, like 𝐒𝐿𝐼 said, that half step forward. Matt, you agree with 𝐒𝐼 here?
I do. I wonder if it's 𝐒𝐼, like Jason 𝐒𝐼, NHL legend. I can only imagine that. This is Jason 𝐒𝐼 watching our stream.
I'm pretty sure his logo is a 𝐒𝐼. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. 𝐒𝐼. The lion, the snake, and the eagle or whatever.
Fuck if I know. I went. Mythology. My brain went right to hockey. Yeah, I went sports over nerd talk. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry, nerd talk. Blewett and I talked about video games for like a half hour yesterday. People were pissed.
Yeah, that's great. But no, I do agree with this take, and I think honestly, I really believe this. One, the bye week I think is going to be big for him getting that mental reset. We saw what happened last year when he came back from injury, and he was a better player in the second half of the year. And also the defenses that they play against are really getting up. Jacksonville, Detroit, Chicago's defense might be the worst of them all. Miami's a really good offense. Their defense isn't really all that great. So there's going to be some opportunities to put up some pretty gaudy box score numbers.
Yeah, Green Bean, how are you feeling about this take here? You think Zach Wilson's going to have to take an extra step or half step forward for us to be legit?
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think that's well said too. Like we've been winning with, don't turn the ball over. That's how kind of good the rest of the team has been playing, whether it's special teams, defense, obviously the running game. Look at our offensive line and all the tackles we've been through, and they're still better than we were in 2018, 19, and 20. It's still better line. Like we haven't had that complete collapse. The team is playing their asses off. If Zach Wilson takes that half step that 𝐒𝐼 is talking about here, and like, what does that mean? 220 to 60 a game, 2 touchdowns. I said it. I was watching Matt's Jets report today, and I put that in there. It's like all I'm looking is like 245. 23 of 33. I don't want to see 44 dropbacks. I want to see the running game and everything. But if Zach can be efficient and like take that half step, which turning the ball over, getting above 220 pretty much consistently, I think we're to be reckoned with, man. I honestly do. I get so nervous boasting. I'm seriously damaged. Like I was trying to talk shit with somebody, but like I used to be like, screw you, we're gonna kick your ass. I don't have that anymore. I'm nervous. It's gonna take me a while to get to where I'm that comfortable. But when you look at the team, dude, we're good. We're young and we're good. And I think if Zach does what 𝐒𝐼 is talking about, yeah, man, I think we can win the division, bro. It's spooky.
Ooh, so I've got a good one for you. I didn't see this in there, so I apologize if someone has it. I don't think they do. Last game of the season. Let's say the Jets have locked up the division. If we beat the Dolphins, we'd knock the Dolphins out of the playoffs, or we can rest our starters. Matt, would you prefer us to rest starters against the Finns and let them into the playoffs, or play, balls out, even though we've already clinched the division, and not give our guys the week of rest?
Can you impact your own seeding?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good question. Let's say no. That's a great question. Let's say no. Let's use the example of the 2 seed, because right now, I guess the Ravens and Titans are both 6-3. Let's say no for the sake of argument. Let's say you're staying within your spot, but you allow the Dolphins into the playoffs if you rest your starters.
Okay, how about this? Fuck them. We're playing the starters anyway.
That's what I want to hear. Yo, I don't want the Dolphins in the playoffs. They're scary. That's like that is talent that I would rather not. Because what's going to happen is the Jets let them into the playoffs, and then we won't face them the first round or the second round. We'll face them in the championship game, and that's when we'll get our ass knocked out. And that's when the coin flip bracket will be right, and we'll be spitting nails and
plus
all that good stuff.
If you rest starters, what always happens is you come out flat.
Yep.
Happened to the Colts.
Yeah, 100%.
It happened to the Colts, a million years with Peyton Manning, and or just ask the Bengals against the Jets in 2009 how that went.
I'm hoping it's for the division title. Like both teams are in the playoffs, by that week, and it's like, okay, we're playing for like the belt. Green Bean, what about you? You want the division? If the division title's locked up, are you resting starters or are you knocking the Dolphins out?
That question was fantastic, right? Like that's important. Does it affect, I think, dude, you can't think with your emotions. And I would want my coach to not pull a Rex Ryan and not get Quinnen Williams injured. You know what I mean? Going into the damn playoffs. I'd rather rest my starters, I think, and see if my number twos can kick their ass. That's what I would do. Send out Jamie.
Can you imagine the demoralizing, Mike White goes out there and slings it for 400 yards to Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims, our backup team.
Fuck it. Ty Johnson runs for $180. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd love it.
I'd sign up for either one. I'm leaning more towards Matt on this one personally. I think strategically making sure the Dolphins don't get in, because then you're probably talking about a team like maybe the Chargers or the Bengals that are getting in. Because right now, the teams that are just like on the bubble, the Patriots are 5-4. They're in the 7 seed. Chargers are 5-4. They just lost a ton of people. So I think they're going to kind of keep falling. The Bengals are without Chase. They're 5-4. The team behind them is the Colts. So like it might be like the wild card may be wrapped up heading into that final week anyway, unless, the AFC East really beats up on one another and kind of drops a little bit here. John Springs comes in. John says the Vikings didn't impress at all. Josh Allen fell apart. We can beat them. Jets better on the road. Yeah, look, I'm not super afraid of the Minnesota Vikings. I'm afraid of Jamar Chase and Dalvin Cook. I think they're both phenomenal talents. I think Jefferson's probably the best receiver in the game, and I think Cook's a top 5 to 10 running back, depending on like who you're putting in front of him. But I'm still leery. They're still like 8-1. There's still enough there that's like, could you be concerned? I think we have the talent to do it. I think for that game, it probably falls a little bit more on Zach. Like if the Vikings can find a way to score, or if Zach makes mistakes similar to how Allen kind of made some mistakes there. But I think the Jets can play with them. Green Bean, are you impressed by the Vikings, or how are you feeling about them?
I mean, I think the comment is, a little further than I wouldn't say they didn't impress me, man. I mean, there was some very impressive stuff going on during that game. Now, I agree, though. Josh Allen blew it. You know what I mean? All he has to do is not fumble and get a yard, and they're good. You know what I mean? Which he's done a million times. Or at the very end, I mean, they were going to tie it. You know what I mean? He threw it up through. Oh, and I think they were driving to score. So, I mean, there's lots of that, right? And I'm very happy with the results, okay? I'm very, very happy with the results. But I think while they're definitely a good team, again, I think we can hang. I think DJ Reed and Michael Carter can hang. I think our linebackers can handle their running game. While it's good, don't get me wrong, they're going to get their yards. But I think we can spook Kirk Cousins back there, a little Quinnen Williams, a little Bryce Huff, a little JJ action to the face. And I think Kirk Cousins will see what's up, man. I think we can hang with these guys. Again, it's all about New England. That's where I am.
After we beat New England, they're going to flex the Minnesota game to prime time, and Kirk Cousins is going to be doomed. Matt, how you feeling about the Vikings? You nervous?
I don't. So quick to dismiss. Can the Jets beat them? Yes. I think the Jets, with how they're playing, especially defensively, could hang with any team in the NFL. But you are what your record says you are, and they have a pretty damn good record too. So I would move the game to. And you guys know I'm a 1 o'clock guy, but something about Kirk Cousins when the lights comes on, man, and he's a different guy. He's gonna get spooked.
I love it. Put us on primetime, baby. Jay Perez says, beware of Seattle. Even if Geno slows down, he has a purpose playing against us. I'll be at that game, says Jay. I'm it's crazy how good of a draft we had and how good of a draft Seattle has, because Seattle may wind up with defensive rookie of the year and offensive rookie of the year. I still think Sauce gets it, but I think there's a very strong case for Tariq Woolen, who's got 5 interceptions. And I don't know if you guys saw the Tom Brady interception, but that was a joke of an interception. Not all interceptions should be the same. When you look at Sauce's, he's got 2 against division rivals, arguably the best team in the league in Buffalo, and also against Miami. Granted, maybe a little star with Sauces and a third-string quarterback, but even still. I do think Seattle is a tough team. Kenneth Walker on the other side, but I think even still the Jets match up well. I think for me the bigger hurdle is going across the other side of the country and having to play with the time zone difference and all that sort of stuff. Matt, how are you feeling about the Seattle game?
It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be because Geno Smith is playing really, really good football. Just a note on Sauce Gardner to toss that in there. NFL Research had a great tweet earlier today where they said Sauce Gardner has allowed yards per reception and yards per target in man coverage this season. And they followed it up saying Sauce Gardner has allowed 3 catches for 2 yards on 81 man coverage snaps since week 4. If that's not your defensive rookie of the year, I don't know what you are watching.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Like I knew he was playing well. Didn't realize it was like that well. And even the touchdown he gave up was the one to Cooper week 2, where it looked like it was just a blown assignment. Just like, I was playing a different coverage. Like I don't consider that like a touchdown given up. Tariq Woolen's given up at least 2 touchdowns.
Woolen's good. Matt, he's not as good.
I was going to say, how are you feeling about Seattle now? Ooh, go for it.
Well, on what Matt's saying, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Brett Coleman. He does like all kinds of breakdowns. Really good.
Oh, yeah, he did a great one on Sauce.
Did you see it? If you guys haven't seen the Brett Coleman Sauce Gardner breakdown, you need to watch it. Just on you, not now. When the stream is over, you go Google in the YouTube search engine, type in Brett Coleman. I think it's with a K. Brett Coleman.
Kollman.
Yeah, and to just try Brett Coleman, Sauce Gardner. Dude, it's about 7 minutes of sheer stupidity on how good Sauce Gardner really is and what he's already doing and how teams are already trying to deal with him. It's amazing. And Matt just nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't argue I feel like he should be in most people's top 5 corners, and he's just a rookie. It's insane. Green Bean, are you concerned with Seattle at all?
No.
Nice. We'll move on.
I think, you got to get Geno Smith running around thinking fast, because as good as he's playing, and Geno always had talent. And I'll reiterate what I said back then. I got beat up a little bit. I was a fan of Geno Smith. Like, I believed that he could at any moment just kind of overcome, and he never did. And he got the jaw broken and the whole thing. It really fell off a cliff. But his talent was clear to me. He was just an idiot. You know what I mean? Now he's playing calmer and everything. But I think our defensive line and our cornerbacks can confuse him. And I think we can get him having to think fast and make decisions. And that happens, we got a real good shot, not only beating them, making them look stupid.
Ablab comes in and says, believe, #gang. We believe, Ablab. Hennessy says, just throw the ball 3 times all game, Mac Wilson. If we could run the ball, 40 times, and we don't have to worry about trying to score touchdowns really quick, yeah, sure, I'm all about it. I don't need to throw the ball a lot. If you're getting 5 yards carry, who cares? Thomas Cahill drops in. He says, I want to see Elijah Moore break out with slants over the middle. I think a lot of us do. A lot of us want to see him kind of get more involved with the offense after having, I think, 1 target over the course of the last 3 weeks or so. Now, coming out of the bye, maybe there's been a little bit more of a reset. My thing is, like, if we're getting Corey Davis back this week, which I don't know if that's actually been confirmed or not, I just sort of assume we are getting him back. And they've said Mims isn't, he's going to get some reps too. How many reps are we going to have, and how are you going to spread them around? Because, like, Conklin had himself a pretty nice day. I would think working the middle of the field, trying to get the ball out quick, would play into the Elijah Moore game plan. Like, I think you could beat the Pats with his shiftiness in the slot. But then you got Conklin. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff to go around. Matt, you seeing a breakout game from Elijah Moore this week?
Maybe. I'm not going to give a definitive answer, which is really bad to do in this field that we chose here, gentlemen. But I will say that I am very excited to see him go back to the slot. And part of me thinks like that Bill Belichick saw that Garrett Wilson just beat the crap out of him all, the last time, and then he's going to put a little extra effort to taking him away, and Elijah Moore comes out. But then another part of me just says, well, Garrett Wilson's just that dominant, and I think he's going to get open anyway. So it's going to be hard not to feed him the ball. I'll go somewhere in the middle. I'm not going to say like breakout, but maybe like for like 40 yards. And it's like, okay, he's a functioning wide receiver again. And we could.
Yeah, give me like 4 receptions, 40 yards, or 5 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdown. That would make me feel good about Elijah Moore. Green Bean, you think Elijah Moore breaks out this week?
I do. Now, I understand and respect completely why Matt is saying what he's saying, and it's a smart move, and it's very well placed, well played. But I am feeling something here this week. I would normally stay right where Matt is on this one, but I feel something. I think the bye, I think everything leading up to it, I think how good of a sport he was running all those orbits around Zach Wilson, and he complained for a second. I think it's time. We moved him to the slot, like Matt mentioned, and I think it's what I'm saying literally since he was drafted. Since we saw him week 1, like why are they playing him on the outside so much? Like we've been saying it. Now it's not that he can't be used out there, of course, but clearly this year it's not working. Fact that LaFleur have kind of succumbed to the ideas that maybe weren't their own. I think it's just been building up. And I think Elijah Moore is going to be a 5+ catch dynamo this week against the Patriots. And I think it's going to be good to see.
I was talking to Blewett last night, and he was saying how Elijah Moore's been in the slot. He just hasn't been looked at as read 1 or 2, at least for the last 2 weeks, like since the Bronco game. So you're talking the Patriots and the Bills games. I'm hoping he gets some looks. I want to see him. It's just tough when you're looking, at the pecking order, because Garrett Wilson is just a better receiver. So he should be the first look. And then if you're going to say, okay, Garrett Wilson, then maybe I'm going to the tight end or going to the running back. Like, I don't know. I want to see him break out. I would like to see it. And I think he can get, like 4 catches, 40 yards. That would be a pretty nice little day for him. Chris KV comes in and says, what do you fellas think the Jets will need to improve in order to get through this stretch victoriously? I say third downs plus red zone conversions need to be more regular. What say you, fine gents? For me, it's really Zach. It's if Zach can start to click. And like Matt said a little bit earlier, the defenses on this back half of the schedule, particularly the Bears and the Lions, are defenses you should be able to dominate. Like if we're going to see a good Zach Wilson this year, it's going to be in those games. I don't know if I want to put the pressure on him this week because Belichick just seems to have his number. And Robert Saleh said something to the effect of, there's 4 or 5 snaps and we're crucifying Zach Wilson, against the Patriots, or at least not we, the fans are, and the media is. So I don't know. I think for me, if we had to improve one area, it would just be Zach overall. And I think if he can utilize his legs a little bit more like we saw last week against Buffalo, I think you pick up those third downs, which does kind of play into Chris's sort of third down conversions here. Matt, what do you think we need to improve on to be victorious down this stretch?
Yeah, really, I completely steal your thunder, but I think it's consistency from the quarterback. I think if you get that, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, I think we mentioned this a few times on the show. I don't think it could be like the version of Zach where he's throwing the ball 18 to 24 times. I think if he lives in that 25 to 35 range, that's the sweet spot. I don't like these 40+ games. The Jets have too much or too good of a running game quite that many times. And I'm not saying you go back to the wishbone days either. I think you could find a happy medium somewhere around 30 times a game, plus or minus. And if he gets in a rhythm like what he did against Buffalo, I think they could be in really good shape. And as I said earlier in the show, they have some defenses coming up on the schedule that are bottom half of the league, and hopefully we see a different player.
Green Bean, what about you? What area do you think the Jets could improve on to be victorious down this stretch here?
I look, it's got to be Zach. I mean, look, I think that our safety play, they've been spotty at times. I think that the linebacker coverage, look, as much as I am loath to say anything negative about how CJ Mosley's been playing, earned in the passing game at least once a game. I mean, he gets really by the tight end, running back, whoever. But he's playing so lights out all over the field, sideline to sideline. So but I think, I think you could improve backer coverages in the passing game. But I think it really, if Zach, like 𝐒𝐿 said before, if Zach could just take that step forward, just not be erratic, not be panic stricken where he's running backwards. And if that's really gone, this team, that's going to impact this team unlike anything else can. That's the thing. And maybe the offensive line gelling. Look, 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐳, at bare minimum, we found some serious depth, man. We had a good guy coming off the Texans practice squad. And I think I'd love to see Max Mitchell come back. Fant doesn't look like he's returning to practice, so he might be gone a little bit longer. But I'd love to see Max Mitchell back, but you got to consider how well it's going to treat the line to keep shuffling dudes, because he all but neutralized Von Miller. And that's not to be taken lightly, man. That's serious. You know what I mean? So I think if the line can just gel and become a force, that would also be helpful. But I think the most important is Zach.
Yeah, Blewett and I were talking about that a little bit yesterday, was the offensive line and how consistency with the five guys on the unit is almost more important than the skill level of one independent individual. And I think that's probably what you're talking about when you're talking about Fant or Mitchell. It's kind of the direction we sort of took the question was, okay, who do you want? Do you want Fant or do you want Mitchell to start? Because Fant's probably gone at the end of the year, where Mitchell's here at least for the next 3 years. And Blewett sort of pitched it as well, maybe it's neither. Maybe it is just, 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐳, or however you say his name. Perhaps that is the answer. I just think the best player should get it. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be Mitchell or not, but I think our best five just need to be out there, because Zach Wilson is more important than any other piece on this team through the duration of this year. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Zach needs to be the piece that plays a little bit better. Mike Anthony, do you guys think we have a realistic chance of a home playoff game? I really do. But I'll give you a more definitive answer after this week. I think if the Jets can win, now all of a sudden we have a half-game lead. I guess it would be, half-game lead, or we're tied with the Dolphins, but we have the tiebreaker with them at the moment. We need some teams to beat Miami, because I don't love the idea of going into that final game of the season after kind of embarrassing the Dolphins the way we did with their third-string quarterback in MetLife. I have a really hard time seeing that last game of the season being a win. It feels like that's a revenge game for them, and I don't want that to come down to that at the end of the season. But yeah, I think the Jets do have a realistic shot at a home playoff game, and it'd be exciting. It'd be the first one since 2002. Matt, you think the Jets have a realistic shot of landing a home playoff game?
Yes, they can. Which I was talking a little bit about it on my stream. That would be the first one of one that I remember. 2002 is the year before I knew what was going on. That was second grade Matt. He was picking daisies out in the field, at recess. He didn't know what was going on, man. But those 2003 and 4 Jets, they got him hooked. But yeah, that would be insane. I would be a dog off the chain if that happened.
Yeah, we're there.
Cream Bean, you think we're getting a home playoff game, or you think it's realistic that we get a home playoff game?
Right. I think it's realistic as well, and I'm really excited that Matt thinks so. He's so constructive in his thinking. So I really respect that. If Matt believes it, I believe it. So I think it's realistic, man, and we do. I hope tickets are less than 500, because I'll go.
Dude, it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
It's going to be we need to be there. It's ridiculous. I want to see it. It's been too long. Adam S. drops in, says, see a lot of Justin Jefferson in Garrett Wilson. I'm not ready to go there yet, but I do see star potential in Garrett Wilson. When I was watching Jefferson coming out that year, I had Lamb as my 1, Jefferson as my 2, and I got a lot of shit for that because of Judy and because of Ruggs. And I was like, I don't know, Jefferson looks pretty good, but then it's like, Jamar Chase is on the other side for a lot of times. Jefferson's really good. I don't want to put Garrett Wilson there yet, but I think his ceiling could be, elite level wide receiver. Matt, you see a lot of Justin Jefferson in Garrett Wilson?
Early on this show, I just said Justin Jefferson was the best wide receiver in the NFL. I hope that Garrett Wilson can become that. I think Garrett is this very, very special talent, and I think he has an incredibly high ceiling. But I personally cannot go that far just yet.
Green Bean, what about you? Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson.
Well, I'll tell you what, as far as Garrett Wilson being the receiver, like his rookie year, like the guy who just kind of shows the NFL right away that he's legit, I think so. But Justin Jefferson is special, man. Garrett Wilson is too, but it's hard to say, that he's Justin Jefferson already. But again, rookie seasons, yeah, Garrett Wilson's going to show. He continues, he's going to get over 1,000 yards. Like, when's the last 1,000 outside of Brandon Marshall? Like, that bullshit. When's the last 1,000? It's Keyshawn. Like
Is it really that long ago?
I think so. I mean, what did San Antonio? Right. I don't think Holmes and Edwards. I think it was more spread around.
Coles and Holmes never got it.
Kotchery in 07 got it.
Kotchery, yeah, that's okay. So 07. Any more?
No, you had both Decker and Marshall in 2015, 2007. And then I think Coles did it once or twice, also earlier.
Right. So outside of the Brandon Marshall thing, we're looking at, what is that? Fucking, how many years is that? What is that? 14 years? Something like that?
Too many.
A long time.
That's the answer.
Yeah, it's a long time, man. So I think, if he can do that, dude, imagine, I think he's a valid candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Brees would have run away with it. But I think if he gets 1,000 yards receiving, he could get offense. You think?
I think he's going to have to score a lot because I think Kenneth Walker right now is the leader in the clubhouse with Brees being out. We'll see. Garrett Wilson has 8 more games to prove himself. And says if there's a home playoff game, we effing riot. If there's a home playoff game, Jet Nation is going to be going bonkers. I'm going to be the most belligerent, angry person you're gonna see from the Jet fan base. I'm gonna be so mad. Not so mad. I'm gonna be so happy that we haven't had this type of success in so long. I just want to talk shit, in the worst way. So I apologize. You guys may wind up unsubbing from me because I'm gonna be too over the top, maybe. Whatever. D-Don says, can we put Mac on his ass? Want a crime scene. Yeah, look, I want him not wanting to play the next snap. That's what I want. I want him to get hit so friggin' hard that he's like, maybe I should stay down an extra second. Let's let that other guy go in for a little bit. Zappy. Yeah. He looks like he'd take a shot or two. Yeah, no, I want to knock him around a little bit. Make him think twice.
That's right. I'm with you.
Let's do it.
Let's see. Saw another one in here. Where did it go? Adam S. Adam S says, remember freaking out about our defense in preseason. Yeah, think about it, right? Our preseason, you go against the Giants, who are playing really well. The Eagles, who are the best team in the league right now. And then the friggin' Falcons, who, at one point were leading their division. Granted, they were sub 500, but our defense in preseason, it's hard to compare it because you're playing vanilla defenses. You're not trying to give away any of your schemes or anything like that. But yeah, it's been a long time since then. I feel a lot different now, really since the Bengal game. I think that was when the light flip switched.
The first 3 weeks of the year, they averaged 27 points, and since then it's been 15, something like that. It's been a crazy turnaround.
Dude, insanely impressive. If you could go from, what would that be, week 4, I guess? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Steelers game basically to now, just light switch. Incredible. Really, since Reed said something and Quinn Williams went off on white cotton. Ramani AD says, hey fellas, fun fact, collectively the Jets have been around for roughly 60 years or so. In that time, we have played 5 home playoff games. We win the division, finish 12-5. Your thoughts? Dude, your lips to God's ears. I hope so, dude. Like, that's like that. I'm hoping right now. My initial prior to training camp or anything, I was saying bare minimum is 7 wins. I'm expecting 9 wins. Since we are at 6-3, my expectation has changed. Since we beat Buffalo and since Buffalo lost to the Vikings, my expectation, the floor is wild card right now. Like, I'm going to be upset at this season if the Jets don't make the wild card. I'll be able to look back on it and say, wow, look, that was a successful second year from Robert Saleh. Those two things can be true. But I would be upset if we didn't make a wild card. And at this point, looking at the skill level we have, I think we should be able to get the division. And I think 12-5 is probably the mark to get the division. I think 11-5 gets you the wild card. Matt, I want to hear your thoughts on this. 12-5, you think it's happening?
No, I don't, but I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I think 11-6 is where I'm at. That's about the most positive I can get to. 5-3 down the stretch, 11-6 finish.
Greenby, what about you?
How bad am I lagging tonight? Is it bad?
Not overly so. I mean, I'm having a little bit of stuff on my end overall, not you guys, but
I got there's a storm here, so I keep
yeah, we got sleet and shit up here too, so it's knocking us around.
Anyway, so I think 12-5 would mean we are 6-2, right? Isn't that what it would be? 6-2 on the back end.
Yep. Yeah.
I think it's unlikely but realistic. Yeah, man. And again, I think if we beat the Pats on Sunday, I think it's everything changes. That's what I think. I think that's the monkey. Get it off your back and then see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, like Matt, not 12. That's tough for me. 6-2 on the end, but 5-3 for some reason feels wonderful. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just one game, but yeah. And I'll tell you what, winning the division would be fantastic. Especially coming off of 6 wins in 2 years to come in, Robert Saleh's second year, Joe Douglas's third, and the quarterback to come in and win the division only for the 3rd time in franchise history since the merger in 1970 would be epic and so well deserved from all you guys in the chat, man. It's like we deserve it. I'm sick of it. I'd love it.
Jet fans do deserve it. When you start looking down the line, right? Like if Green Bean, like he says, this is a big week for us. If you can beat the Patriots, you're expecting to beat the Bears, Jaguars, and Lions. Like that. So that's 4 right there. That's your 4-4 without anything else. If Josh Allen has any sort of issues with that elbow moving forward in 4 weeks, that becomes a winnable game. I'm not afraid of Case Keenum.
Yeah, dude, he's their whole team, man. I mean, like with respect, they're very talented.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
but without him, they become pedestrian for real. Mm-hmm. And Case Keenum's a quality backup. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
We should all be so lucky to have Case Keenum's as a number 2, but he's not Josh Allen, dude. Josh Allen's ability to take off that's the X factor for the Bills offense. It is almost undefensible.
Dude, he's a horse. When you have linebackers and defensive linemen draped all over you, and he's just like, no, I'm going to keep running for like 25 yards. The guy is a unicorn. Absolutely incredible.
And then he lowers the shoulder on your safety.
Yep.
At the end of it, like
240 pounds, like that, like he's going to make the safety hurt. Like he is that impressive of a player. So that is definitely no shot at him whatsoever. But he is their whole team, not whole team, but like the offensive. The offense is so dangerous because of him specifically. Then you look at, I would say the Dolphins and Bills are probably the 2 hardest remaining on our schedule. The Seahawks aren't any slouches, but I do think we match up well with them. I'm not really afraid of DK with Sauce and Reed. Kenneth Walker, I think we can contain. I think we match up well with them. The Vikings, I don't trust Kirk Cousins. Could I see 6-2? I could. I honestly could. But you need things to break the right way, and it all starts with New England. It's tough for me to get on board with it until I see them win that game in particular. Moose City says, we win in the bowl, baby. I hope so.
Let's go.
I like it. Confidence, baby. Josh McMinn says, this team gives me 2021 Bengals vibes. I think that's what a lot of people around the country are probably thinking at this point, because we are that bad team that did the quick flip, and now we're getting hot at the right time and, all that good jazz. So I think that'll be, if we beat the Patriots, that'll be the national story, I think. Mike Anthony, thank you so much for the super chat, dude. He says, what position do you guys want us to most improve other than offensive line? I say linebacker. I like ours, but don't love playoff tickets. Playoff tickets better be a good price because I already sold my season tickets. I'll send them a blank check. You guys are my favorite. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Do you know what tomorrow is? Hump day. It never gets old. Other than offensive line, what do we have to improve? The offensive line's an interesting one. I'm assuming he's talking about beyond this year, not right now. But yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you have, and I'll get into the linebackers and whatnot and other positions, but you look at the offensive line, you have Brown coming back next year, or he's going to retire and have the surgery. I think it's one of those two options. I mean, unless the surgery allows him to get back before the beginning of next season, but you have him under contract for next year. You have Becton here. You're going to decline his 5th-year option, most likely. You have Mitchell under contract. I don't believe Fant comes back. I think there's probably something to be said for going out and trying to get Conklin, and then putting him on the right-hand side, allow Mitchell to kind of learn behind him. And then you have Becton and Brown on the left-hand side, and you allow them to kind of duke it out. And then you just sort of, I don't know if you draft another tackle at some point. It's going to be interesting. But AVT, does he stay at right guard? Do you decide hey, Tomlinson has left a lot to be desired. Maybe he's not the answer that you thought he was over there. Does McGovern come back? There's a lot of question marks on the offensive line. Linebacker-wise, I'm not sure how we handle it because Quan and Quincy are both not under contract for next year. And then CJ Mosley is playing well, but not $21 million a year well. Yeah, I guess if there was a position group that I was most concerned with, it's probably offensive line and linebacker. Those are probably the two. Greenby, and I see a nod in your head. Are those the two positions you kind of see as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's not to say I'm not happy with them, but they are concerning. And I feel like at any time the offensive line can break down. We have quite literally a practice squad guy playing right tackle. We have our second guard, a backup guard. As great as their, especially Herbig, who is affectionately being called Herbie by some people out there, which I like. I think as good as they're playing, I mean, yeah, that's the area I'd be most concerned with. And you said it before, Ryan, because Zach's everything. Zach's the most important thing. If he's running a person, 18 yards behind the line, the line of scrimmage, we're in trouble. If he's calm and has a pocket and gets comfortable, he can slice and dice. And then again, CJ Mosley, they're so good at times, but then they do get eaten up in the passing game, and it's that's where I am.
Matt, what about you? You think linebacker and O-line are the two areas of concern for this team moving forward?
I say yes, but to throw something else out there, free safety, because LaMarcus Joyner has played better, and I think we have to give him credit for that, but I don't think he is a long-term answer there, and I don't think the Jets have a long-term answer there on the roster.
I'm hoping that's a second-round pick. That's where I would like to address that. I don't really want to go out and spend money on safety. For me, this offseason is more about retaining your own guys and reworking contracts. And, you're probably going to have to let some guys walk, guys like Herbig, potentially moving on from CJ Mosley or Carl Lawson, Corey Davis. There's going to be a lot of names that get thrown around that are going to save you some money. And with Quinnen Williams' contract coming up, are you going to have to kind of rework some stuff? This is where Joe Douglas is really going to earn some of his money because he's had unlimited amounts of cap space, more money than we could really spend in free agency because there was only so many players that want to come to New York anyway. And then we don't have the 2 first-round picks. So this is going to be the first year we really look at Joe Douglas and say, okay, this is he's had a few years under his belt. He's going to have to start to re-sign guys. We haven't really had that situation yet. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be where he earns his salt. Sky C says, hey, fellas, if we get to the dance, and I think we will, any team on any given Sunday can win and get to the Super Bowl. Everything is flowing our way. I could seriously see it seriously could be an all New York Super Bowl. First beat the Pats. I believe the Jets in a harder AFC right now have a better chance of making it to the Super Bowl than the Giants. And that's not to say I'm not impressed with what the Giants have been doing. I think they have like the fourth hardest schedule, I think, remaining on their remaining for the year. So if they can get through all those division games and they start to really look good, they had a little bit of a tough time with the Texans this past week. And I'm not sure I necessarily fully believe in Daniel Jones yet. And I don't think they have a receiver. It just like after trading Tony, like Galladay's not the guy. He has one drop and he's like, dude, back to the bench. Like really not good. Yeah. I don't trust the Giants. But yeah, crazy. Dude, any team can win any given Sunday. It's like you look at Washington. Did anyone think Washington was going to beat Philadelphia last night? Nope. I didn't. I mean, granted, they had a little bit of help there, but any given Sunday. Matt, we get into the big game?
Are we going to get to the big game? Again, I mean, this has kind of been the theme of the show. I think the Jets defense can hang with anybody. It's really going to be very telling over the next 8 weeks how far this team is going to go to play at quarterback. We're running through it got me thinking. I'm going to be incredibly frustrated when Tom Brady wins the NFC South at 8-9 and then goes out and goes on this unbelievable run when he like beats the Giants in the first round and then gets Geno Smith in the second round and then is on the road against like Jimmy G championship game. And then you're like, oh shit, here he is again in another Super Bowl because he got hot at the right time. But
Jets Bucks Super Bowl, Todd Bowles and Tom Brady versus the Jets. No sweeter victory.
I'd be petrified. If they lost that game,
yes.
I might not recover. I might have to quit content.
Oh, they throw me in the loony bin. Green bean, yeah. We going to the big game?
Yes.
Love it.
Like Brian said, it's kind of the theme we're talking about, wild card and division. Yeah, screw it. Why not? Yes, we're going to the big game. We're going to win, Sky C.
Any given Sunday. Brian Bogan says, rest the starters week at 18. It's Strevler time. That would be fun. If you can lock up the division by that game, I think you start to look at like matchups, right? And you're keeping an eye. I think the Jets have a 1:00 game. So it's like not the best. You'd almost wish you could have a 4:00 game there and be like, okay, do we need to rest the starters? Which is obviously why they schedule it that way, because you don't want to see guys rest. But you might be playing a little bit of that, like, okay, how can the Jets maximize their matchup potential? Like right now, if I'm looking at the division winners and the playoffs and teams you could face, I want the Titans all day. I think I'd rather verse King Henry. You know what? I would rather. I think that is the team I would pick if I had to pick all of them, right?
Yeah, CJ and Quincy Williams will just lump them up again like they did last year. Like that plays right into our strength, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like if they're going to depend on him, and he's a stud, make no mistake, and he'll get his yards. But our guys, they salivate at a game like that.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like because I don't fear them from a passing perspective, and that's kind of where we would like. I feel like a running team is the team that's going to cause us issues at some point. Like if they were already looking at Jerry Tillery, like is Rankin's injury even worse than we thought it was, and they're concerned about our defensive line rotation now. Like I could see situations, but the Titans are the ones I want. But I would love to see Strevler come in that last week of the season and just beat up on the Finns.
Oh, that'd be nice. So fun. Really would.
Knock him out of the playoff. Like how great would it be? It's like, okay, we win, Strevler's in, Miami gets bounced from the playoffs. Sign me up. I have a hard time seeing the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins not making the playoffs. And it really could come down to an AFC East sweep of the wild card teams. That's how good this division is. Roger Podactor says, this week is a good chance to see this young group play in a playoff-like game anyway in New England, playing for the first or last place. Yeah, right? Could the stakes be any higher? First or last place? I feel like the last Patriot game, maybe it was just to the fans, but it felt like that was a playoff atmosphere, or felt like it should have been. And then we go into the Buffalo game, and I'm like not necessarily expecting that. They kind of surprised me with how well they played. Yeah, I don't know. Any given Sunday, we could do it. We want to see that. See these guys come out swinging. Jets NY says, notice how our defense covers the screen well now. Also on third downs, we do much better this year of guarding the line to gain. Yes, I think some of that has to do with just vastly more talent. I think the safeties, like everything works in conjunction, right? Like if the safeties are playing better, the linebackers don't have to kind of pick up as much on that side of things. And if the D-line's playing well, then that kind of eats up a little bit for the line. Like everything's all intertwined. But playing the screen well, I think, is a testament to 𝐒 Alexander. I think he's been phenomenal. I would argue him and DJ Reed are our two best free agent pickups this year, and I don't think it's close. I'm trying to run through other names in my head, but I think those are really... I mean, I guess Conklin is probably up there as well, but I really like those two overall. Matt, any thoughts on why maybe we're covering screens as well as we are?
That's a good point. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I guess the linebacker play has been better than I thought it would be. Maybe I guess would be my answer to it. I think Quincy Williams has had less of those games where he looks completely lost in coverage. I think 𝐒 Alexander has been a really nice addition. I would like to see him play a little more than what he is. Mosley's bounced back pretty nicely, and they added to Whitehead in free agency, who I think has been a little bit definitely quieter than DJ Reed, but I think is kind of steadied into a nice role here on this team.
Green Bean, any thoughts as to why the Jets are covering the screen better this year versus last year?
Yeah, I think we got tired of it. We got tired of that. We said, no more. And that's what we did. I think it's all schematic, man. Like you said, obviously there's more talent, but the first couple weeks of the season, they were doing it again. That's why we were so down on it. Like people, there's the whole Jeff Ulbrich apology tour going on right now, right? And I jumped, of course. Hey man, him and Salah, they deserve a little bit of love, right? Of course. At the same time, there was a lot of reason that we felt concerned the first couple weeks of the season, but I think they, scheme. They finally understand, how to respond to things and all that. I think, again, add that to the talent. And I think teams started realizing that we can cover it a little bit better. It's not quite as easy as they were, able to pull it off on us last year. So yeah, man, I think, I tell you what, no matter what it is, I'm really happy about it. There's nothing more frustrating than just screen. And then when we can't stop it, that's maddening.
Knobcraft says, can we make it out of the division with only one loss? It doesn't seem impossible now, but I've exhausted my luck after cashing in on the win over Buffalo. Can the Jets go with one win? Yeah, I think it's possible. Or one loss, sorry. Man, just so much hinges on this game for me. This week is a real big one for my, I think, confidence in this team. Like, I'm looking at this defense. We just had the Patriots 2 weeks ago. You have to be able to come out and shut them down. Like, you can't lose twice in 3 weeks. It's just not an option for the Jets. As much as I say that, I do think I'm more nervous about the Dolphin game than I am about this game. But this is the one we have to focus on right now. Green Bean, you think it's possible we get out of this season with only one division loss?
Wait, say that again. Wait, I'm sorry. Can we make it out of division with only one?
Do you think we can get out of the division with just one loss?
I think we can. I think it's unlikely. It's going to be really hard to sweep the Finns with their offense, like you were just saying, and Buffalo for that matter. Let's not forget them. They're on a 2-game skid. Yes, Josh Allen's elbow might be bothering him. Yes, he's making some bonehead decisions. They're still the Bills. They're still the cream of the division. And Miami's offense is, sick. And when we played them, even though, I was on the side, I don't want to hear that it doesn't count and this and that. I don't even entertain it. But the truth is that Tua is a little better than Skylar Thompson. Can we at least say that? So it's going to be it's going to be tough. Now their defense, I think our offense, if firing on all cylinders, can perform well against their defense. But we got to play lights out if we're going to shut them down. I think it's unlikely that we sweep the next 3 division games, but it can happen, man.
Matt, you think we get out of this season with just 1 division loss?
No, I'm sorry. I don't. Beating Buffalo twice is a tough ask, and beating Miami twice is a tough ask. Maybe a winning record, I'd sign up for that, and I think that'd be crazy. But going 5-1 in the division, I think is we're getting to loony bin hours.
Yeah, I think 3-3 for me is a solid season after not having a division win in like 2 years and not beating the Patriots in 13 games. Like for me, if we can split the Pats. Before the season, I wasn't even really thinking we'd be able to split with the Bills so much because of the talent they have. Now we're at worst splitting with the Bills. And then the Dolphins, I really want to beat them. That's the team I think that now that we have beaten the Bills is the one that sort of perplexes me. Like I want to see did the Dolphins only play the Bills once? I think they have. I think the Dolphins have them one more time on their docket. And the Bills were just beat to shit as far as like their health goes. And the Jets put a whooping on the Dolphins. So like even if you say like, oh, what does Tua generate another touchdown? We lose Brees. We lose a touchdown from that. Like we still beat him by like 3 touchdowns. I don't know. I'm not sure. I would like to go 4-2 would be very, very nice. 3-3 I'm fine with.
Yeah. How great is James Robinson though? You talking about Brees Hall?
Dude,
what a finger in the dam, huh? It's like, it doesn't.
That is the not Billy Mays or whatever, the plastic dip guy with the hole in the cylinder. Joe Douglas slapping James Robinson on the hole in the boat.
Yeah. I mean, right. It doesn't take the damage wasn't done, but talk about a quick and really more than serviceable response. I mean, dude, James Robinson, he's been fantastic, even in his role. Michael Carter is still a stud, obviously, and I couldn't love him more. But James Robinson alongside of him, what a fantastic 1-2 in lieu of Brees. I think it's. I feel so fortunate that Joe Douglas was able to grab him.
Didon says we went 6-3 with the hard part of the schedule and 3 Flacco starts. Why is 6-2 in the softer half with Zach causing you guys to pause? Because the schedule is not what we thought it was. The earlier part of the schedule, I believe, was the easier portion of the schedule. I would say it's closer now. Before the season, you would have said the tail end is by far easier, but you look at the quarterbacks we faced. If you had told me we were going to face the third string quarterback of the Dolphins, you're playing the backup for the Broncos, Aaron Rodgers, if you tell me they're falling apart at the seams like that, that's not where I expected those teams to be prior to the season. So 6-3, I'm ecstatic that we're there. But I think 5-3 towards the back half of the schedule, like we've kind of been saying, is sort of where we should be. Like that Browns game, like I'm sorry, we shouldn't have won that game. That is a fluke game. So you're talking 5-4 right now. So I think a 5-3 is not out of the realm of possibility. Matt, do you kind of agree the schedule sort of flipped a little bit?
There are some teams that are definitely better than I thought they would be. Seattle is significantly more competitive than I thought they'd be. And look, you still have 3 more divisional games. You have to play all 3 divisional games on the road. That's tough no matter how you slice it. Are the Jets better than the Patriots on paper? Yeah, they are. But going to New England and winning is not an easy thing to do. Winning on the road in Week 18 is not an easy thing to do. Yes, you beat Buffalo, but doing it again in their place, tough ask. They've struggled with running quarterbacks. Does Justin Fields give them problems? And Minnesota's also 8-1, 7-1. They've had an incredible start to the year. 5-3, I think, is a realistic goal for this team. I hope they do more than that. I hope they go 8-0, but that's not what I'm going to predict to happen.
Green Bean, what about you? You think the schedule's kind of flipped a little bit as far as the easier part of the schedule being on the back half, the harder part of the schedule being on the front half? Like Matt sort of said, Seattle's harder than we thought. I think Chicago's probably a little bit better than we thought because of Fields, even though the defense isn't quite up to snuff. And then even Minnesota, I wasn't expecting them to have just one loss at this point in the season.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I think the way you put it is perfect. Like they'd flipped. Like we thought the front end was, almost, unwinnable. Like guys like Brady Quinn saying there's a realistic shot that they go 0-9. And while we didn't agree with that extreme of a take, the truth is we were nervous. The AFC North alone looked like a daunting task. And to start with those guys, and it turned out that they weren't quite as powerful as we thought. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then, teams like Denver and Green Bay. And then, look at the back end. We thought the Bears and the Vikings and the rest, or Seattle was going to be, they were the easy side. They're a little bit more difficult maybe than the front end. The good news is I like that it worked out. Like I like that we were able to gain some momentum as opposed to limping into the back half with 2 wins, 3 wins. Say, look, we're not numerically out of it. We could still be, a 9-10 win team. And I think this way is better, much, much better for us. I like starting and being able to get some wins early because, again, then there's momentum and belief and all that stuff. And that shit's powerful, man.
Mr. Downtown says, premature thought, is Flacco retiring Streveler, quarterback 3? I'd be cool if they wanted to have Streveler as quarterback 2 next. No, I probably don't want that. If you're going into a Super Bowl, hopeful season, I don't necessarily, love Flacco. I don't know if he necessarily is like I don't want to have to change the offense. And I guess if you're running the ball, maybe it doesn't necessarily matter the style of play your quarterback has. But like when I look at Zach and I look at Joe, they're totally opposite. When I look at Streveler, I at least think, okay, mobile, running around a little bit. Like to me, Mike White and Flacco are similar, and Streveler and Wilson are a little similar. White's gone after this year for us. I don't know what Streveler's contract looks like. Actually, I have no idea what Flacco's contract looks like either, to be honest. But he's got to be, 38 years old? I mean, he's got to be contemplating it, but it's almost like the Daniel Tosh stand-up where it's like, Brett Favre, everyone thinks you should retire. You said $15 million, right? Yeah, they can go F themselves. It's like, yeah, of course. You're going to keep paying the dude. He's going to come back and play. I don't know. Green Bean, you think Flacco's retiring?
I do. And I think Flacco has a 1-year contract, $3.294 million. But White, I think, is a 1-year contract as well. I feel like it. I didn't look that one up, but I think Flacco knows he's toast. I mean, I guess he could linger and hang around. Somebody will grab him. You know what I mean? For sure. But I think he's probably done. He got that one last, really exciting victory. Jump up and down in the locker room with everybody. Yeah, Flacco. He got that moment again. I think leave on that note. You know what I mean?
Matt, you think Flacco's done?
Yeah, he's cooked. He's a cooked goose, man. He will always have that. Flacco should continue to start for this team after the 1-2 start. It'll live fondly in our hearts.
Red John says top 5 rookies according to Daniel Jeremiah. Up to this point: Sauce number 1, Olave number 2, Woolen number 3, Pierce number 4, Garrett Wilson number 5. By the way, we still need a run-stopping defensive tackle.